So after you have that period of realization of why you want to do whatever it is, whatever your passion is, whatever the obstacle is, or the venture that you want to go out on, once you've figured out why you want to make that change, you have to have an examination of yourself. You have to look at what are the habits, the mindsets, the things that have kept me where I am, that have brought me to where I am and are keeping me where I am. Because if you want to figure out why your life is the way it is right now, you have to look back at the past 2, 5, 10 years of decisions, because that's what's brought you to this point. It's the decisions, the habits, all of it. And so you need to break those down. You need to break down those things. And my favorite part of this was identifying what my self-limiting beliefs are. If you've never heard that term, I mean, in a way it's self-explanatory, but effectively what it is self-limiting beliefs are the things that you think about yourself, that you tell yourself internally, that are in some way, shape, or form hindering your growth, your happiness, your drive, your dedication to any kind of growth or change in your life. And it tends to become a very vicious cycle because we tend to have a confirmation bias towards our self-limiting beliefs, and we tend to look for things that validate them, and we find a certain amount of security in that, in knowing what makes us who we are, and that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But you have to do a very deep, very thorough examination of why you do what you do, why you think what you think, why you say the things to yourself that you, because that will show you what the most difficult work you're going to have to do is. It was by far one of the more I don't like the word triggering, but one of the more, I guess, painful, difficult things I've ever done is taking that self-inventory and looking at what those self-limiting beliefs are, write them down. And here's what's going to happen is you're going to sit down and you're going to write down a couple superficial things, like the first things that come off the top of your mind, and you're like, oh yeah, I think this about myself, and I think this about, but then you start to get into the really deep shit. That's when you start to realize, oh, but wait a minute. If you're being honest with yourself, if you're being genuine with yourself and honest, you're going to start to realize, oh, fuck, there's a whole lot more to this that I'm not accounting for. That's painful and that's frustrating because we don't like that. We don't like putting that ourselves under the microscope like that. But I am telling you, that has been one of the most life-changing, rewarding things in my life. And it's not a one and done thing. This is something that you have to do periodically, because you will develop new self-limiting beliefs. You will condition yourself to think certain ways, or you will uncover things that you didn't see before. So being able to unpack those things and being able to identify them and name them is just incredibly important. Don't underestimate the power of taking a full self-inventory and asking yourself the difficult questions. It's so funny to me how when you ask people why they're miserable and why they're not doing the things that would get them out of the situations, the life that's making them miserable, they'll tell you that it's, oh, I'm lazy, or, oh, all of that would be too much work, I don't want to do that. At some point, you have to say enough is enough, and you have to come to grips with the fact that you have to save yourself. You have to be the one that course corrects. But you don't know what you have to do until you can sit with yourself, sit alone with yourself and with your thoughts, and unpack those things. See, people think that starting a business or going into business for yourself is this academic thing, or if you just put in enough hours and do enough things, then eventually it'll all work out. And it's so much more than that, because being an entrepreneur is going to take all of you. It's going to absorb everything that you have to give and keep demanding more. You may say, well, why would I do that? Well, tell me EMS doesn't already do that to you. If you're an EMT or a paramedic, it's not easy, but it's a whole person experience if you're going to actually make it work. Sit down and have some conversations with yourself, examine yourself. You will become so much more aware of the things in your everyday life that are hampering your happiness, your growth, and keeping you from building a life that you want.